Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Today we're taking a look at zoning here in Columbus, Ohio. We're looking at how to look it up. So where from the beginning do you go to find out what the zoning is at your house or a property that you're looking at? And then we're going to take a look at zoning rules and regulations in the building code to see if it's a possibility in that zone and in that population density requirement to put up either an additional unit or a different unit or something of that case. So let's take a look at what the zoning map tells us. So I literally went to Google, hit Columbus, Ohio zoning map. It pops this up as the first link. You do online zoning map. Whoops, online zoning map. And it brings up this map. I'm going to pull myself over here because the map is here. Okay, so we have 274 Hawks Ave, Columbus, Ohio, as our subject property. So we're taking a look at what is the zoning here. So you can come up here to this and you can print this out and basically get a nice little report. This Z10 to 12, what that means is that it was part of a rezoning. Actually, back in 2010, here on 1125, you can look it up. It got rezoned from, I forget what it was before, to R2F. And so that's what our current zoning is residential R2F. And then this is a height 35. So basically anything we put in this area cannot be over 35 feet tall. That's the top it can be. So that tells us basically what we're allowed in this area, right? We know we're at 2F. So what does 2F exactly mean? Okay, so then we go back to Google and we go to Columbus, Ohio zoning code, right? So we go zoning city of Columbus. Then you can come down here to related links and get to the zoning code. And then it pulls up literally all the building codes and everything you'd ever need to look at. But doing it this way with the keyword kind of jumps you into relatively where you need to go. So what we're going to look at first, or what we're looking for, is that 2F zone. So you can literally Google or look up here, residential district 2F. So now it pulls up and it tells you what this is defined as. And this is the definition right here as our 2F and what you're allowed to do. So then we can also look at 2F density. We'll see what we get here, some hits. Here we go, okay. So this is a chart, if you will, of all the zoning districts, the symbols they have, and then the dwelling units per square footage that you can do. So if you have a one-family dwelling, you're only allowed to have that every 6,000 square feet. We know the lot that we just looked at was about 6,500 square feet. I think I closed out of that, sorry. But the lots in that area, about 6,500 square feet. And then if you do a two-family dwelling that's two-story, you need 6,000 square feet. So we could do a two-story, two-family dwelling on this lot if there wasn't any other building. So what we're assuming now, and what we'll have to dig deeper on and probably get an architect's input and our contractor's input on all that kind of thing when we actually were to try and draw out some plans, but it looks at if we had a single family home and we wanted to add a garage basically with an apartment over it, or an in-law suite or something to that effect, it appears that we would have an argument to do that based on the zoning, because we're still going to have two dwellings or two buildings per the 3,000 square feet. So I think we have an argument here. It may not specifically draw it out, and I'm sure there'll be some issues to get it approved and everything. At this point, that with residential R2F zoning, we should be able to build, or we have an argument to build a garage with some kind of an in-law suite apartment or something like that over it. We may even, and we should have this discussion with the architect or whoever we're going to go to develop this, have a better argument for simply a another building, another unit, like literally in a guest house kind of a thing. So now we should start looking at what are the limitations around the buildings that we add to this lot. Like, let's say we can do it. So let's look up garage, like just as far as a guidance on like square footage. So if we look up private garage, so we know now that that's what the garage limitations are. If we were trying to truly do a garage with the living quarters over, we would probably have to abide by these rules. Now that we figured out we might be able to do it, the question becomes, how do we pay for it, right? Being in a primary residence, which is what we're going to look at this from, like if I were doing this, or if you were doing this on your own property, the loan products that I know of out there deal with what the value of the home is, right? So now we're going to value what the home is worth based on comps in the area. Okay, so let's say, so this is total, it's 3 beds, 3.5 baths. So the property we're talking about is 4 beds, 2.5 baths. So like you gain a bathroom here, but you lose a bedroom, but you gain garages here. So let's say that this is pretty much, call it even with what we could expect from the market if we can do this project for $113,000, meaning that if we take 80% of this new value out from a bank and we can take that money and that money's enough to do this build, then we take 80% of that money back out. We do the new build, the equity increases from 363 to 481, which is $141,000 equity increase. The cost of that equity, or what it took to put into the project, was 113 from the deal, or from the home, right? 113,620. So it cost us 113. We had a net of well, I guess let's find out, like minus blank. So we had a net increase of $28,180 basically is what we made in equity profit. So we made an ROI, or return on our investment, of 25% of that investment we made back in equity. So if the numbers work out, if truly you can build a property or a garage or whatever that's got a unit over it, a living unit, if you can do it for 113,620, this could be a very viable project. So that is how to find out if you can add an ADU or a garage or whatever to your property in Columbus, Ohio, in the Franklinton area, how to look it up on the zoning. And then we covered, how to go about finding out if it's a viable project and how you can figure out your ROI essentially. So if you have any questions at all, please reach out. Always happy to help. And if I can direct you to any of the areas on the city website we went here, I'm more than happy to. Thanks much.